Your love, O Lord, endures forever. And that's why we are here this day, being able to be in your word and being able to contemplate how you would have us walk in this day, step by step, knowing that you are with us, that you're not abandoning us, but that you are loving us, and that endures forever. We got a picture of that in Psalm 136. 137 was a little bit of a don't want to say Psalm 137 is a downer, but it is definitely speaking towards the demise of the kings around, and being able to see that we're in trouble. Where do our eyes get fixed? And that's to the cross. And excuse me. But as we contemplate Psalm 138 today, it takes us back to these next really 8 psalms. These next 8 psalms are Davidic psalms. They're psalms ascribed to David, and as David is writing these, he kind of puts us into a nice little sandwich for us. The sandwich is right 138 is this nice bread piece, and then he gets into the meat of the next 6 psalms, and they're going to be prayers from David about the Lord or to the Lord, and then 145 he's going to be able to put that next piece of bread on there. So we have a nice little sandwich we'll be walking through in these next days ahead. And we'll see today that Psalm 138 brings back the praise. I want to be able to distinguish something here, because some people get confused, and then they get in the contrast of saying that the Bible contradicts itself or it has errors, because in verse 2, Psalm 138, it speaks to, I will bow down towards your holy temple. If it's of David, David never got to see the temple. Solomon was the one who built the temple, and that is David's son. And so, as we look at what they're meaning by the temple, that word there as temple, really is that tent of meeting that they had from the time that they were sojourners, that they were wanderers in the desert. They brought that tent of meeting, a tent that was set up for the house of God. And if you remember David speaking in Samuel, in the book of Samuel's, you'll get to see that he wanted to build that house, because he said, here I am in this lavish house that I have, but you're still in this tent. And the Lord promised him, saying, you can gather up stuff and be able to make this temple happen, but your son, your offspring, will be the one who will build a temple for my name. And so don't get too sidetracked on verse 2 there when he says, I will bow down towards your holy temple. With David, the temple wasn't there. He's going to bow down towards his presence in that tent, and that is the temple of the Lord. Being able to say where the temple, where the presence of the Lord is, that's where worship happened in those days of David. So, as that's just a little small detail, a lot of people look at that and say, well, that isn't right, but it doesn't necessarily mean the physical temple that Solomon built. But let's go forward in Psalm 138. Great psalm of being able to, once again, this is a praise and thanksgiving that's going to be followed by prayer in these next 6 psalms. So let's read together. I will praise you, O Lord, with all my heart. Before the gods, I will sing your praise. I will bow down towards your holy temple and will praise your name. For your love and your faithfulness, for you have exalted above all things your name and your word. When I called, you answered me. You made me bold and stout-hearted. May all the kings of the earth praise you, O Lord, when they hear the words of your mouth. May they sing of the ways of the Lord, for the glory of the Lord is great. Though the Lord is on high, he looks down upon the lowly, but the proud he knows from afar. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You stretch out your hand against the anger of my foes. With your right hand, you save me. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the works of your hands. The works of your hands are great and mighty. Even sometimes they might be from afar because we're proud, or we have pride, as the psalm says there. But it is a beautiful thing, as it says here, that though the Lord is on high, he looks down upon the lowly. And before your self-esteem gets shot, he's really speaking to the lowly in heart, the lowly in body, the sinners here on earth. He visits us. The proud, saying that they don't need God, he visits from afar, but he is present and close to those who know that they need to know that they need a Savior, know that they need something greater than themselves. And so he visits the lowly. He comes down to the sinners that we are with the grace and the mercy and just his right hand. And his right hand is justice, as you get to see in scriptures. It is a just God, but his right hand is also the hand of salvation. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's a hand of power and authority, salvation and justice. And that's why it's great that Jesus Christ ascended and sits at the right hand, because he is our judge. He is our power. He is our authority now. He is our justice. And thanks be to God that we have Jesus at the right hand, because he is the one who knows us, knows every hair on our head, and so does God the Father. But as Jesus has completed the mission, he gives us salvation. Because we are lowly and sinners, he gives us what we need, mercy and grace and salvation. And so I'm going to end with these words, because these are going to send us into the day. It says, "May all the kings of the earth praise you, O Lord, when they hear the words of your mouth. May they sing of the ways of the Lord, for the glory of the Lord is great." And that's a little bit of evangelism that David's doing, of being able to say, I worship you, Lord. I pray that the people around me, the kings around me, they might have the pride. They might have the power. They think they have the authority. But all power and authority is yours. And I pray this day that the people around me are going to be see how the Lord is great and what he has done for me in my salvation. And so that's my prayer for you this day. As you go into your day, I pray that the people around you get to see how great the Lord is, and how the greatness of his salvation has transformed your life to live as one transformed by the gospel, the right hand of God Almighty, the justice, the mercy, the grace, and the salvation of Jesus Christ. Have a great day as you change the lives around you by just being a child of God.